I've been married for a year to my wife and I'm still a virgin. I recently found out why. My wife and I got married in February of last year. We had been dating for 4 years prior to getting married. During that time, we hadn't been intimate or anything close to it. We'd kissed, cuddled, and done things like that, but nothing more. She told me she was waiting for marriage, which was fine with me. I was happy with that because I had always known we'd get married. Fast forward to the wedding day, and I was about to explode from excitement. Firstly, I was marrying the woman of my dreams. Secondly, we were finally going to be intimate. The wedding itself was really nice. It was a pretty basic ceremony in a small chapel with only close family, followed by a meal at her parents' house. We then went back to my wife's house, and I was ready for it, but she said she was too tired after a long day. No problem, I thought, what's one more day? The next morning, I woke up, and she had already gone out. I had no idea what time she left, and there was just a note on the fridge saying she was at her parents' house. This detail is important for later. That was almost a year ago. Every time I've tried to discuss the subject, she's either been too tired, upset, not in the mood, or had some variation of these excuses. At one point, she accused me of being obsessed with intimacy because I used to ask about it most days. I've taken her on many romantic date nights, but as soon as intimacy was mentioned, she became put off because she believed it should be spontaneous. So I tried spontaneously engaging, but she accused me of attempting to force her if she didn't give consent beforehand. I was so confused, to say the least. Over the years, I had grown closer to one of her friends, and we went out for coffee one week. After some chit-chatting, she asked how the bedroom life was going. When I confessed that we had never done anything, she was really shocked. I thought, who wouldn't be shocked about a married couple where they were both still virgins? But no, she was shocked because her friend, my wife, had been incredibly promiscuous before she met me. According to the friend, she used to have all sorts of intimate experiences with various people. She estimated at least 14 lovers that she knew about. This left me even more confused. I wondered if I was just undesirable and why she had married me if I wasn't attractive enough for her. After talking some more to her friend, she suggested I sit down and have a serious conversation with my wife. Fast forward, and I finally sat down with my wife last Sunday after she spent the night at her parents' house the day before. You'll later understand why this matters. At first, she was completely unreceptive, but I asked her to listen and let me talk without interrupting. She agreed. I talked to her calmly, telling her that I wanted to love her in every way possible. I told her that I married her because I loved all of her, and that I wanted to know what was going on with her. I mentioned that I knew about how active she was in the past and wanted to know why those people could be with her wholly, but I couldn't. My talk lasted for almost an hour, and she listened without interrupting. As I talked, she started crying. She didn't sob or break down. Instead, she was quiet, and tears rolled down her cheeks. This honestly made something inside me break, and I began crying too. I rarely cry. After I finished talking, we sat and looked at each other for some time. I could see that she was thinking. She just silently shook her head. At that moment, things nearly fell apart, and I asked if she wanted me to contact a solicitor on Monday to begin divorce proceedings. She fully broke down then. She cried so hard, sobbing, that she ended up as a ball on the floor. This shocked me. I had never seen her like that before. I don't remember doing it, but I ended up on the floor cuddling her while she cried. And then the dam broke. That's when she finally confessed something that broke my heart. Dad, Dave, wasn't her real dad. Her biological dad left when she was 5, and Dave entered her life when she was 7. I never knew this. I just knew him as her dad. Dave was the perfect dad for years, by her memory. He took her out for ice cream, looked after her when she was sick, spent money on her, and bought her nice things. All the normal dad stuff. However, when she was 14, he began to touch her. His excuse, apparently, was that she was a developing young woman and she was a temptation for all men. So, who better than someone that loves her? As you could guess, this developed to him coming to her bed late at night. When she was 17, he started to take her out and allow his friends to have fun with her. One of these friends went around bragging about it. When word got out, my wife got tarnished with a few nasty monikers that I'll let you imagine. Her friend, the one I had coffee with, heard about it, and other conquests through the grapevine. Those were the 14 lovers the friend had known about. She knew my wife at the time, but they weren't really friends until college. When the friend tried to ask my wife about it, my wife shrugged it off. When she was about to head off to university, Dave bought a house around the corner from him for her to live in. This is the house we have been living in for the past few years. He would make regular visits to her here and keep financial control over her bank account and the fact that he owned the house. Dave wasn't happy when my wife met me, and insisted that she not sleep with me. Me being a virgin, made that sell easier, I guess. He threatened to expose her, kick her out of the house and cut her off. This continued until our engagement. Keep in mind I had actually asked that man for his daughter's hand in marriage and he acted thrilled. He even gave me an expensive bottle of whiskey to celebrate. Dave promised my wife that he would end the arrangement when we got married, and even give her a parting gift by transferring the house into her name and giving her a cash present. Safe to say that didn't happen. He decided that she was too good for me. On our wedding day, he demanded intimacy on the spot. Our wedding day. Then, he told her to come over the following day, which is where she was the morning she disappeared. He told her, while he ate her, that he wouldn't tolerate another man using her body and that I wasn't allowed to touch her. When he was done with her, she left and cried all day. She even thought about ending herself. When I heard that, I very nearly lost it. I'm not a small guy. I'm 6 feet 3 inches and well built. I was ready to go around and rip this animal apart. My wife stopped me and continued. Her swimming, although some think she was using it as a cover, was legit. She swims daily as it's her way of coping. She then told me the regular visits to her parents' house are actually for him. As in, the day before we had this conversation, she was once again being used by her father. There was more. So much more. My heart hurt. Hell, my very soul hurts. I didn't sleep at all that night. And I have this burning anger and hatred deep down. I still love her, but my soul feels like it's been torn apart. As soon as she got it all out, I contacted the police. They came to the house and took her statement. She gave names, dates, and showed phone records. She also showed written evidence from emails and a secure messenger that Dave insisted she used to chat with him. Everything. He and my wife's mother were arrested immediately. I've arranged for her to go to therapy with the first session being this week. I'm going to try and set things right and do whatever I can. We're getting the hell out of this house as soon as we can.